Hey guys, how we doing? Welcome to the Wednesday Night Delight. That is Lowdown. You're here tonight with myself, Craig, Paul, and Chris are joining us. Don't forget, if you're listening to this, you can head over to the Levels of Wrestling app that you can download from the Google Play Store. You can also hear Ringside Rambler's Mind of Carnage, Just Saying, and the Wrestle Addicts as well. If you don't want to go over there and you're on Apple, because you know you're kind of sad like that, you can head over to levelsofwrestling.podbean.com. Check us out there as well. And if you're feeling generous, you can always pop into the link for this video. You can actually see that we've popped in the little description box. There should be a link for you to click to go and buy our t-shirt, which Paul's modeling for us right now.
Yay, shirt!
Yay, shirt. And of course, guys, thank you so much for joining us. It's Wednesday. This is great. You guys are great. And this show is going to be the tits.
The levels of wrestling has more merchandise than Seth Rollins does. Think about that.
And what does that tell you?
We're better than Seth Rollins.
Like, we are officially the undisputed, reigning, defending podcast champions.
I wouldn't go that far, but we're booked better than a chicken shit heel champ. So.
Yeah, well, we definitely are, and we always have been.
Yeah, we're booked stronger. Booked stronger than Rollins.
I think we should put that on a t-shirt. That in itself is more merch, and we're booked stronger than Rollins.
I like it. Bigger than Rollins, booked stronger than Rollins.
And with an arrow pointing down, right?
If we had a book stronger than Rollins, I would actually wear that to the live events. And I would do my best to be seen by the guy.
I think we should do it. Let's get this sorted. Cade, I know you're listening. Get that sorted. I want t-shirts.
Get out of Cade.
If you're listening tonight, please feel free to share the link for the video. And if you're listening on the app or Podbean, tell your friends. Share it around. The more people we get listening, the bigger the show gets, and the more respect that everyone listening to it gets as well. It's kind of cool like that. That's why we're a family. Guys, let's get into it. How did you feel about Battleground pay-per-view as a whole?
4 out of 10.
Yeah, we talked about this right after the pay-per-view, didn't we, Craig? On Wrestle Rehash, which you can listen to on the app and all other places where you can hear us. Yeah, I maintain my 4.5 out of 10. It's not budging.
I'm going to be honest. I'll give it a 7, but the points are deducted because of bad booking.
That booking was piss poor. You know, I went back and rewatched a little bit of it. And, yeah, it just didn't get any better. And in fact, you know, some of the matches even got worse. So
The only thing that got better for me was seeing that even Cena didn't seem to like the outcome of his match.
I'm not sure, like, how I feel about that. Because I don't think he did look upset. I just think it was him in the atmosphere of the match.
I'm going to say, I don't necessarily think he looked upset. I think he looked a little bit hesitant.
Possibly. I mean, he did look hesitant.
As if thinking, oh shit, I'm about to get booed like hell.
I mean, for me, it was okay because I actually appreciate that the match itself was very good, barring the ending. It was probably the worst match that they've had, but it was still a good match nonetheless.
Oh, yeah.
But Cena and who's his face?
Owens, yep.
I hated it. Hated that match. It was just we're just going to trade spots. Where the other matches actually had psychology and things worked and they built up to things. This one was just your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn, kick out, kick out. Hated it.
Do you know what I didn't like with that match was the random parts of Owen going, "Do you like that, Cole?" But I don't know. Were you trying to turn Cole on? Do you like that, Cole? Like, what was that meant to do? I don't understand that.
Wait, though, did you like that match, though, Craig?
Yeah, I do. I think it was an okay match. I said, I think it was possibly the worst of the 3 they've had. But it's still a good match nonetheless compared to the rest of the WWE roster.
Okay, that was basically them doing like an indie match. That was them doing a PWG match.
Yeah, I'm fine with indie shows. My issue with indie shows is the production values. That really bugs me.
Okay, well then there you go. You want to go into my why watch indie wrestling? Well, what used to be indie ROH. There you go. You
No.
like it's the same thing.
No, Paul. No.
It's the same thing, just with a fixed camera.
No, Paul. Bad. Production values. I like production values.
No, stop. That you know what? That's like going. I don't like independent filmmaking, but I like Transformers.
No,
Yeah.
I don't like Transformers.
I like
I
Michael.
don't like
I
Transformers.
like Michael
but I
Bay
agree with that.
movies.
I don't like that. Transformers, but I agree with that principle.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's going. I don't like independent cinema because the film on it looks cheap.
Yeah, it looks
But-
shit. Why would I
but
watch
I
a film that
agree
looks
with
like
that.
it? Why would I like a film that looked like it was shot in the 1980s? No, thanks.
Shit happens, guys. Let's keep to wrestling though, because I don't want to talk about Michael Bay. The guy's awful.
Look at that. Paul wins.
No, Paul doesn't win. We're just skipping the combo.
Run away.
Okay. Other than that, then, what was your favorite match on the card?
See, it's difficult to say because for me, the best matches on the card, to be honest, I gotta give props because Sheamus Orton wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. For the 5,000th time that they've had this matchup, it wasn't as bad as it normally is. Like at least the crowd wasn't chanting, "This is awful" or boring,
They certainly weren't chanting, "This is awesome," though. So.
or starting the Mexican wave. Or
Of course not. They were there in St. Louis. I mean, that's Orton's backyard. They were pretty hot for that match. And the match was okay. You're right. It was better than expected. But Orton is just in cruise control. I mean, he looks like he's going through mud doing things. I said the other night that my favorite match and what I thought was the best match of the night was the Divas match. And upon looking back at it, I changed my mind. It was Reigns and Wyatt.
There we go. He gets it. Yeah.
No, it's not because it was a good match. It was just because that other match looked worse in hindsight.
yeah, the issue with the Divas match at Battleground is the women from NXT were adjusting to the extra size of the ring, and you can see it. Like they stumbled a couple of times and didn't seem to know where they were.
They got a little bit lost. Looking back at it, Charlotte looked more lost than Brie in that match. I mean, Charlotte is just someone who's going to be getting by on doing spots at this point, because she is naturally athletic. So so she's going to be doing flippy shit and stuff like that.
Yeah, but what you've got to keep in mind is that the ring size is different at this point. They've just come up. They probably haven't trained in a ring of the size of the one at Battleground or Raw. I mean, you look.
Oh yeah, I'm totally with you. Triple threat matches are tough. There's communication. You're trying to communicate with other people. I'm sure that they didn't know that they were having that match until probably the day before. So it's forgivable.
Okay, so let's talk about our favorite match then. I mean, obviously we've all said that Wyatt and Reigns was the best match of the night. What made it special for you, and what made it stand out?
I loved how Bray would cut off Roman's spots. I mean, they were trying to get that over in the first match of how Orton and Sheamus knew each other so well, and that's how they were countering each other. But it didn't look fluid. It didn't look natural. With Bray and Roman though, when Bray cuts somebody off, it looks natural. That's what he does best in the ring. I had my issues with the match. I mean, doing 10 punches and headlocks and shit like that. Didn't care for it.
The end.
I was fine with that. I actually loved the ending because it continued it. It wasn't a clean finish, and that's it didn't need that. This is something that it was a really good match. Wasn't great. I liked their match on Raw a whole lot better. I liked Harper and Roman on Raw 10 times better. But I liked the ending. I like where it went. It was a solid match. Roman Reigns gets better and better every week.
He does, and that's what I liked about it. Roman actually looks like he's becoming a star. And I know we all said that like 6 months ago, that Roman's going to be a star. He's going to be this guy. And we now looked at it, and he put on a hell of a good match. He took some good bumps as well, like some really good bumps. Like, I'd hate to be clotheslined midair and still go flat out on the apron. That looked painful.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he goes all out. The most underrated part of his game is his selling, especially on Monday. Watch him on Monday.
I can very much agree with that. He sells quite well. He's not a Cena in that aspect.
I think he's learning probably from some of the best. Like, he's got to be talking to the pros backstage, the ones that have been there for years. Even guys like Ziggler, Kofi, the ones that are selling ridiculously, he'll be taking influence from that.
Oh, even the guys like Ambrose who've been on the indie.
Right, yeah, exactly. I mean, Ambrose working with him has probably done him a world of good in the last 6 months. A lot of people have said, he's becoming the star of the year. He is working, he's doing his thing, he's most improved, certainly. Obviously, we haven't seen a lot of Eva Marie yet to tell if she's improved. But there's certainly some nice adaptations to his character. Like, there are little tweaks that are coming in there as well. I think people don't realize that he is quite... people used to think he was dry as a character, and now he's kind of coming out of shell a bit. He's becoming aggressive. He's, hulking up, if you want, during matches. He's showing the fans that he's got charisma, and they're slowly letting him use that, which is a bonus.
I'm going to say something that is not going to be popular with you guys. What Roman has needed more than anything else is someone like Edge and Punk were to Cena. Someone that can bring out the best of him.
Yep, I agree with that. I think Wyatt, though, is probably that guy. And I said that he needs to be that career-long feud.
Yeah, he needs to be someone that they can keep coming back to in 3 years' time, 5 years' time. Someone that they can draw the parallels with, like Batista is to Cena. Or Orton is to Cena, even.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, you have Batista Cena, then you have Batista Orton. Both of those are kind of lifelong for Batista. So, I mean, they do work, and I mean, both guys helped Batista improve greatly.
But even with Cena, they both helped Cena improve massively.
Yeah, I would say in some aspects. I mean, for me, again, Roman Wyatt was the match of the night. I don't think anything else on the card kind of stood up to that, because at least that had almost a flow to it. I know Paul was saying about the 10 punches and, the headlocks. I kind of feel that gave that a dynamic, at least. So it made it look faster when they did speed up.
Yeah, I can get that, to be fair. I wasn't as big a fan of, well, most of their card, to be honest. I mean, they had 7 matches and didn't seem to do that great.
I mean, they weren't bad matches. I just feel that they could have been stronger, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
The Divas match, as much as people hype it up, I thought the one on Raw was better.
Yeah, it was. And again, I think that was part of adjusting to the ring size.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's a 3-foot difference, isn't it?
I think it's a bit more than that, actually.
Yeah, I thought it was 3 or 4 each way, but either way. Again, though, I think the Divas match was better on Raw.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Raw in general was better than Battleground.
I liked Raw. Okay, we'll tell you what. We'll speak a bit about Raw. I liked Raw. I felt the booking was backwards. I felt the Undertaker-Brock segment, the brawl, should have ended the show. That should have been the last thing in your mind as you gone off the show. How many people are going to tell you they remember Rusev taking 3 finishes and being pinned?
And even I didn't remember it. We were said that took
Yeah,
all of that.
that's what I mean. Like, although the ending wasn't bad, the match itself was very good. I just feel the booking should have been Undertaker Brock as the last thing.
You gotta hit that target demographic. Yeah, you gotta hit those younger kids earlier. The 12 to 16-year-olds or whatever, probably even younger than that. They're not up to 11, so.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I feel as though the main event was a dark match almost. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, I would kind of say so. There's nothing wrong with that. It did work.
Yeah, even down to Cena and Orton kind of, nudging each other and shit like that.
Well, sending the crowd home happy was more the thing I was getting at, where it's like, all the good guys hit their finishing moves on the bad guys, and the crowd goes home happy, and also
Yeah, you're right.
What I did like about it was Cesaro was the guy that got the most attention in that match.
Well, Cesaro's a guy who... Cesaro will sooner or later end up like Bryan, and I don't mean being pushed to the moon. I mean he will be more popular with the fans than the people that they want us to be cheering.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think he probably currently is.
Yeah.
Especially when he's doing big moves, jumping out after the match as well into the crowd. That kind of stuff's going to get him over really quick.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Cesaro's one of those guys who has the potential but hasn't been utilised properly. If they can utilise him properly, they have the new, I want to say Bret Hart. I wouldn't necessarily say he's on the level of Austin and Rock, but I think he could be on the level beneath that.
I love how Paul's eyes just went. No.
No. I'm trying to think of like what's a good comparison for him because I don't see him as being world champion. I mean,
Dean
Bret
Malenko.
Hart. Oh no, he's 100 times better than Dean Malenko.
No, I mean he's got more charisma than Dean, but I think in the ring, Dean Malenko.
For his position in the company, I've got it perfect. Lex Luger.
No.
What are you talking about?
He's the stand-in for. He should be the stand-in for while Roman Reigns gets ready.
No.
No. People don't understand Lex Luger. A lot of the time they just think of what he was as the narcissist and then the Lex Express. He was one of the hottest baby faces and then one of the best heels of the 90s in WCW. So, I mean, he was really misunderstood.
I was thinking what Edge had to do in WWE with him before he went to WCW.
Yeah, no, forget about that. That was a blip in his career. He was really good before that. Vince ruined him like he did a whole lot of other people.
Oh, Vince ruins everyone, so that's nothing.
A lot. He ruins a lot of people. Wow, what is a good comparison for Cesaro? Because, I mean, I don't see him as being a world champion. I mean, if SmackDown still had a championship, I could see him possibly being there. But, I mean, he's high-end, undercard champion who mixes into main events. Kurt Hennig?
Maybe. Yeah, he is very much Mr. Perfect.
He's on that level where he's going to put on a good match with most everybody on the roster. Mm-hmm. He's going to be in high-profile feuds. And, he's going to get respect from the fans and the boys, too. Because, I mean, he's one of Cena's guys. Can't forget about that.
Yeah, I think, doesn't Cena still work out with him sometimes, especially when they do, like, the powerlifting?
Yeah, that's one of his guys. And it's really weird, though, that Cena is one of those guys that's going to make even one of his guys earn his spot. He's not going to go, oh, yeah, hey, you're with me. You're my running buddy. So, hey, Vince, give him a push.
Do you know what I would really like to see? Chris, I know you said this, that you'd like to see a stable of Cesaro, Orton, and Cena. I'd actually quite like to see a tag team while Kid is out of Cena and Cesaro.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily mean a stable of them three, but a stable in general. But, I think that even the way that their finishes flowed showed potential for that, to be honest. Strange as that sounds.
Yeah, they're a loose affiliation of faces. I mean, to me, that's how... That's classic pro wrestling. That's how things should go. Good guys should stick with good guys. Bad guys should stick with bad guys.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, even when you turn, there should still be that level of, like, hey, you used to be a bad guy, but we're going to keep an eye on you for a while.
Right. Yeah.
Like, with Orton especially, like... That guy has turned on so many tag partners.
Mm-hmm.
And Miz. Why anyone tags with Miz now is unbearable, but it's where he's good, I guess.
I've got to give props to Miz this week. I mean, his promo about the one line Undertaker's been Big Show's been missing since the Attitude Era.
Yeah, there was a good line. I mean, I'd like Miz on the mic. He's such a good, annoying heel that he's just so misused. He should not be anywhere inside of a ring. He should never wrestle ever again because he's fucking awful. But him as a manager, I think, is a perfect role for him. I mean, pro wrestling needs managers, and to me, he's a perfect guy for that. He's a great company guy. First guy willing to do interviews, does all the little things, does all the legwork behind the scenes, and he's good on the mic. So, let him have a little stable. I think that'd be great.
Do you know who I really want to see as a full-time manager? Is Xavier Woods. That guy outside the ring just now is so good.
He was Jimmy Hart.
Yeah, and it's good. That's what this era's missing, though.
He was channeling Jimmy Hart, and it was fantastic. That team is really coming together, and who would have ever thought it? Because, I mean, I know that I, for one, shit on it for months and months and months. Don't even be smiling there. Don't even be smiling like you wrote this shit. You You were as worried as fucking anybody.
I was worried, yeah, but I was still a fan, so do one. Those guys are doing phenomenal. I love the fact they're working as a team.
You know what? Fuck about how
Kofi's-
I hope they fail now.
Paul, you want them to fail from day one. Hopefully Kofi's actually getting a little bit more mic time because he's actually quite funny. Like, he's not awkward anymore on the mic. And I know as well that
he's just awkward in ring.
Big E, this is me reaping. This is me reaping. That stuff was great. I thought it was so funny just to see him act it out as well. Kind of that physical comedy. It does his thing.
And all three of them said 5 on the way down to the ring. I love that. That little, that little. It was good. Good stuff.
How you doing, Christo? Thank you for joining us.
No worries, no worries. Thank you for having me.
No,
I'm doing quite well.
Good.
Sorry it took me so long to get here. I got assigned a job at 2:30, and it took a little bit longer than I thought it would.
That's okay. How would you rate Battleground out of 10?
4.
Oh, God. Everyone's Bret Harting this show.
Because it wasn't good.
It was crap.
Okay. Let's talk.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to ignore bad booking. I'm gonna judge more harshly because of bad booking.
Okay.
It
let's talk a little
was
bit.
bad booking.
Let's talk a little bit of the comeuppance coming out of this. Then we saw the return of the Dead Man.
Come on.
What a waste of an appearance.
Yeah, obviously a lot of people were pissed with the way he was interjected. Chris was so pissed that he left this conversation. How do you guys feel about the Dead Man being back? Bearing the fact that he looks more like the Biker Taker than he did anyone else.
Go ahead, Krista.
It was a waste of an appearance. Like, why? Why even bother? Like, what was the point of that? Does that mean we're going to see him at SummerSlam?
Yes.
He is booked for the match with Brock, and then he's booked for the Mexican tour.
Well, what's the point of him having another match with Brock? Because if he wins, then the whole ending the streak thing was just a waste of every time. If he loses, what does anybody have to gain from that?
I would agree. I think there's a big struggle there that if Brock wins, it leads to Undertaker going, okay, you beat me again. Maybe it's time to hang it up. Then they can boo on any story they want heading towards WrestleMania. I'm not saying Sting, but I'm saying Sting.
Yeah, but if he says, maybe it's time for me to retire, then there's no point in him having a match with Sting because he's retired.
Oh, there is, because you get Sting winding him up. That kind of, hey, you can't retire until you've had the match with me.
Sting calls him out and antagonizing him repeatedly.
Yep. Chris, how did you feel about Undertaker returning?
I am one of those people who, when I saw the angle on Battleground, I went, okay, this is the most stupid shit they've pulled in the past year. I thought, alright, they've pulled in an old guy instead of, my biggest complaint of the night was obviously Owens. I didn't see why they called in an old guy when they had a chance to make a new guy. And I thought that was some stupid shit right there, and it was really reflective of how they don't actually raise their own talent anymore. They're just relying too much on the Attitude Era because everyone loves the Attitude Era stars, despite the fact that they've pretty much had to retire almost all of them.
Well, and that's just it. I have to agree with you 100%.
Yeah, and I mean, when Taker turned up at Battleground, I took one look at his face and went, you don't look like you did at WrestleMania 31. You look like you did at WrestleMania 30 when you were concussed. That was the expression he had on his face, and I was sat there thinking, oh Lord, he's going to die in the ring.
Okay, Paul, how did you feel about Undertaker coming back?
However, I would like to just finish off for a second.
Yep.
Monday night on Raw, I can honestly say that seeing him fly across the ring at Lesnar did restore a little bit of faith in that. Just enough that I'm not entirely put off by it, but I'm still not overly bothered by it. Like, I'm not really excited to see him back, but at the same time I'm like, well, whatever.
You know what? I completely agree with you. They're still leaning on Attitude Era stars. There's only so many of them. This shows that their inability to create new main event stars. That company is one Cena injury away from being in some serious trouble creatively. Um, I hated the angle. I hated Taker coming out. I hated there being a non-finish. I hated Brock Lesnar looking afraid of the Undertaker. This is someone that he's already beaten. This is the Beast. This is the former UFC champion. This is the guy that's ended the streak, and he's looking at a 97-year-old man wearing eyeliner and looking afraid. I mean, Brock Lesnar isn't afraid of a goddamn thing except for kryptonite, because that's the only thing that can stop him. So that part I absolutely hated. I hated how. Well, I'll get to that part later. But I love to pull apart the Brawl on Raw. I absolutely love that. I didn't as much care for Taker's promo. It just,
It was too slow for my liking, the promo.
Well, that's his style. It is what it is. I mean, the character motivation, whatever, it's there. I mean, okay, sure. I'm trying to interject wrestling logic into.
I was gonna say, don't suck dick. It's not. No.
But I'm not going to be someone that's going to go, oh, look, there's Undertaker, and I'm going to cheer. No, this isn't like Pavlov's dog. That's not going to happen with me. I'm not going to cheer somebody just because I recognize them. The whole reason of bringing him back isn't for character motivation or anything like that. It's to sell SummerSlam. That's it. They're looking. Yeah, they're looking to make SummerSlam into the second biggest show of the year, and that's cool. I've heard rumblings that ESPN kind of wants to get in bed with WWE a little bit, so you could be seeing a little bit of crossover stuff with that.
If that happens, the guy you're going to expect is Jonathan Coachman.
Exactly. Yeah. I know the coach has been making a big push for things like that. They have other guys there that love pro wrestling. I mean, they even mentioned Dusty Rhodes passing, which was pretty big for them.
Mm-hmm.
But where does it go? I mean, to me, this is just Brock Lesnar being wasted more.
I don't know if it's wasted as such. I know they wanted him on the pay-per-view. I don't see anyone else they could have had him realistically feud with other than Rollins or no one, really. I still see Sheamus popping up. I still see Brock then going after Sheamus because he's demanding a rematch, so that'll probably be Brock's next feud, in my opinion. Brock and Taker, though, it doesn't interest me. It really doesn't. I don't want to see another match between the Phenom and... Well, I say Phenom. He's not even a Phenom anymore. He's a pile of ash. Like, he's a he has smoldered away to the point of nothing. Like, it's like picking up the Phoenix, letting him burn, and then die out again, then burn him again, and then die out, then burn him again, and then bury him alive, and then piss on him, and then cover him in dirt, and he still rises that hand up, and it's just becoming more and more rotten every time he appears.
Wow, you just explained, like, every way that they've killed Freddy.
Yeah, and it didn't matter. Freddy still comes back, people like it for 10 minutes and go, this film's shit. Stuck with the original.
Don't worry, Taker's going to come back after a dog pees on him. That's what's going to happen. This is Slayer, and he comes back.
You say that, but I still like the Nightmare on Elm Street films more than I like Undertaker's Return.
Same here! I love me some Nightmare, except for the fifth one. Fourth one and fifth one I hate.
Was that Puppet Master?
Oh, I liked all of
them. And just totally unrelated to wrestling, but I gotta say, I watched the ads for Ash versus the Evil Dead.
Yes!
Series
really
from Stars.
That looks so good.
Really, really good.
It looks so fun.
And I'm hoping Space Channel in Canada picks it up.
I want to do a podcast about that.
We will. We will do a podcast on that.
Yay!
We will do a podcast on films and comics at some point because we can.
I like it.
We'll call it the levels of comics because we've got no other names.
I like podcast on films and comics and stuff.
That's also a very good name.
Leaves nothing to the imagination.
To me, though, like I said, I think Taker Brock's going to be a waste of time. I think it's setting up another angle. That's all this match is going to be, is a set up for two other angles, one for Brock, one for Taker, and they're going to build them now until WrestleMania. Like, how do you write Brock off TV after SummerSlam? They're not going to keep him around the whole time.
Have Sting attack him.
No. No more 70-year-old man attacking Brock.
I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm saying it's what they'll do.
That's like from going from being on fire to drowning. No, you're dying both ways, and both ways are terrible.
Like, for me, Brock is now stuck in limbo because, like Krista said, if Taker wins, it makes the whole streak seem pointless. Like, that digs them a further hole that Undertaker's just slowly backing into. Then you've got Brock who's going, well, you know, it's a year build wasted. What do they do with it then? Where does Brock go? You can't just write him off TV like, oh, Brock is so sad. Brock leave telly now. Goodbye, guys. That's not how it works.
No. I mean, they've booked him as this monster, he's ended the streak, and oh my god, he cannot be stopped, and blah, 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 and then all of a sudden, here we are, a year on, and he's taking it in the ear? I don't see that happening.
Well, now that they have him as a face, that really limits what he can do. I mean, you have him as a heel, you could just transition him over to a feud with Orton, because they still have unfinished business. You could have him in Roman. Who fell?
Died.
Who fell? Is everyone okay?
Let's not ask about Roman again.
Are you okay, Krista?
Sorry.
Did you
Get
fall?
myself a beverage.
You fucking
no,
fell.
I'm getting myself. Not fall.
You had a chair
get myself
fail.
A beverage.
Don't listen to her, folks. That was a chair fail.
I think the chair gave way, and we should have got it on camera.
Chair fail.
We could have sent that to America's Home Videos and got like $250.
Yeah.
And we could have funded more T-shirts for you guys. Speaking of which, you can head to tpublic.com/users/levels of get your T-shirt like the one that Paul was wearing. Say hi, Paul.
Hi.
Now you can
say
see
hi,
it.
shirt. Shirt.
Yep, Levels of Wrestling T-shirt. Of course, as well, if you want to support the Holo family, you can head over to tpublic.com/users/WrestleAddict, and then you can replace WrestleAddict with Mind of Carnage and get one of those as well. Plenty of T-shirts. Support the family, guys. Like I said, the better we do, the more we can give you. Don't forget as well, if you're watching tonight, please give a like, share, and subscribe to the video while I pose like one of your French girls and do this podcast. Why, thank you.
I want to draw you.
You can draw anything you like.
I want to draw you.
Oh, yeah.
Kinky
But seriously,
bastard.
guys, you have no idea.
I have every idea. I do a show with them every week.
You don't see the Snapchat stuff.
No, because he doesn't add me. I'm sad.
It's alright, he hasn't added me either because he's an ass. Following on from this, we promised we would discuss John Cena this week, or as I put it on Twitter, the big JC. Sorry, Christians, we did not mean Jesus.
That's another podcast.
He is the levels of Christianity.
We're going to do that podcast, and then we won't have any fans.
We should do the levels of religion, and it'll be called lore, and the whole thing will be like mythology.
Woo!
Yeah. No. Anyway, the point is we're going to discuss John Cena and the issues they could have if he was to be injured now. Paul, I know you kind of hit on this briefly. If John Cena becomes injured, where does the company go?
Oh, shit.
Trouble! The iceberg right ahead. That's where they're heading. I'm not saying that they're not going to go bankrupt. They're not going to go belly up. Those things aren't going to happen. USA isn't going to dump them. Shareholders will panic. That's for goddamn sure. The writing staff will have to scramble. TV will stink for quite a while.
Those old World War II alarms that we thought they got rid of will start ringing again.
Oh, yeah, we're definitely going to be hearing those. But, I mean, they'll survive. That's why this next year is real important to me, the guy that's going to be replacing Cena. I mean, not totally replacing him because he's a once-in-a-generation talent. But that guy that's the face of the company. is Roman Reigns. That's why this next year leading into WrestleMania is so important for him. This is his redemption year, and they're booking it very well so far. And he's carrying himself extremely well. He doesn't have the pressure of the company on him right now, and he doesn't need to. I mean, they're doing things with him. He's gaining as much character as anybody can get with that company right now, where everybody their character is just I'm pro wrestler. But you know he's handling himself well inside the ring, outside of the ring. People seem to really genuinely like him outside of Smarks. That's the guy that's going to benefit most after Cena leaves. But yeah, I mean, it just shows you that they don't have anybody that can sell TV, that can sell pay-per-views. It's John Cena and part-time stars.
Yeah, that's my worry. If John Cena does get injured, they're going to bring in more part-time stars, and that's the last thing they need to be doing right now.
Yep.
No, and this is the thing I had with the argument that I had about Battleground is they needed to make Owens so that they can make face. You have to think of Batman, think of DC. The hero is only ever as good as the villain. You need to have a top heel to be able to make a top babyface. And that's where I feel like they should have started taking steps. How they should have started taking those steps about 5 years ago. But
well, they're kind of doing that now with Wyatt and Reigns. I mean, to me, they're the two guys that are going to lead into the future.
But that's a shame because at the same time, Wyatt, if you were going to do that, you should have had Wyatt feud with Rollins first to put him up there and make him look like he was a high-profile case, rather than make him feel like he's been on a losing streak since Mania.
Triple H and The Rock, where did they start? That's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
For me, these guys have to grow together to equal each other. You can't have one guy be like, hey, okay, I'm going to be in the main event now. I'll see you in 3 years.
No,
so they have to grow together.
What I mean is, if they knew that they were going to be working that program going into SummerSlam, they should have put him with Rollins for at least one, maybe two pay-per-views, just to make him look like he was a high profile.
Hold on, which one?
Wyatt.
Wyatt with Rollins?
Actually, that would have made Rollins the face. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that's not his motivation yet. They have done, I would say, in the past 2 weeks, they have really made Bray Wyatt feel like a big deal again.
Which is about damn time, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Luke Harper being added just put him back to where he was. I'm excited about Bray Wyatt again, and a lot of it has to do with Luke Harper.
As strange as it sounds, Bray Wyatt himself isn't that great, but with the Wyatt family, he feels like a threat.
Yes.
Yep.
You got it.
Especially with someone like Luke Harper, who is a big man, but can do moves that the smaller guys do.
Yes. But back
so
to
he becomes exciting to watch because he has that. He looks completely nuts all the time.
Yes.
But he does make it a credible threat. Not so much Rowan with the sheep mask and the prison jumpsuit.
Don't you shit on that mask. That mask is great.
Jumping back a minute.
But Luke Harper really does add a dimension to the actual gimmick that Bray Wyatt has.
But jumping back a minute to John Cena, I mean, when I think of John Cena, I think of 4 guys that Cena has had matches with, new guys. And we're talking about Barrett, Wyatt, Rusev, and now Owens. 2 out of 4 of those ran into Cena like a brick wall and lost all momentum that they had going into it. Of course, I'm talking about Barrett and Wyatt there. Those two had momentum going that could have launched them into the main event. They met Cena, and Cena went, no.
Well, and I remember an interview with listening to, I think it was Jericho and Edge, or Christian Edge, or one of the two, Jericho and Edge, and they said that Wyatt was actually supposed to go over.
No.
Cena at the last minute.
No, it wasn't Wyatt. That was with Barrett back in the Nexus angle.
Sorry, Barrett. Sorry, I should have said Wade. Barrett was supposed to go over, and Cena said, "Oh, I'm going to try this," and completely just blew Barrett out of the water.
Yeah,
and both Edge and Jericho are like, "Oh man."
Yeah, the thing about that was that back then, because it came down to Cena and 2 guys on the opposing team, and Cena eliminated them both. And Edge and Christian both admit, Edge and Jericho both admitted that was a bad move. And I feel like Cena hasn't learnt from that, he's gone forward, even with Wyatt's momentum, they were like, oh, Wyatt's going to have infinite momentum going into this, he can be the top heel in the company, he can be the heel equivalent of The Undertaker, he can be this, that and the other. He met Cena and all of a sudden it was like, well, he just lost all the momentum he had.
Well, the writing team is in the thought pattern still of, well, if you're just in a feud with Cena, you're instantly elevated. If you go over him at least once, you're instantly elevated. You're made, and that's not the way it works. We've seen it now, 3 straight feuds.
Yeah, I mean, wins losses count for more than they seem to realize. The win loss, no one remembers. If you have 1 win, then 2 losses. Nobody's going to remember the goddamn win. Nobody's going to care about the goddamn win because overall, he still lost. Yeah,
they think that Owens getting a clean win over Cena, that still matters. It doesn't right now. I mean, not in this culture of fans, this ADD culture of fans, where it's what have you done for me the past 2 weeks.
Owens hasn't won a match since that, clean on TV.
Right, and when you look at him going into SummerSlam, he's going to lose. He's going to be losing the night before SummerSlam too. So I mean,
and to have him tap out at Battleground
on a bad-looking hold at that,
on a shit can finisher.
Yeah.
Well, the consolation prize was that he kicked out of the second rope AA. I mean, but come on, give me a fucking break.
But they immediately
yabba do.
To be honest, I wouldn't have minded it as much, even if they'd had Owens, they struggled to get up. Owens charges at Cena. Cena sidesteps. He goes into the ring post and gets rolled up from that. Even that is better than having the goddamn STF hit you. Who the hell taps it out? Oh no, I'm hurting. He's holding an arm 5 centimeters from my face. Oh no.
I mean, the most puzzling thing about all this is that, I mean, they've obviously reversed course on Owens, which, okay, that's fine. Peel him back, I'm okay with that. Expectations way too high after his initial debut. That's fine. There's only one way to go from a clean win over Cena. But then why do you take the NXT title off of him?
There's actually been backstage rumors about that, whereby a certain Mr. Kevin Dunn, as the IWC always likes to start these rumors, and we're not even sure how true this is, Mr. Dunn apparently is not a big fan of Kevin Owens, and neither are the higher-ups because Kevin Owens is out of shape. So set Kevin Owens up, giving him every opportunity, almost as if to prove that he will fail. Surprised to say he didn't fail, but now they feel like, oh, well, we're still not going to use him.
Well, Owens is an interesting case. He's that indie guy. He's a Triple H guy. He doesn't look like your classic pro wrestler. But who else didn't? Dusty Rhodes. And he seemed to work out pretty good.
Big Show ain't in that great a shape either.
Yeah, but he's 7 foot. I mean, you can't teach 7 foot. But I mean, did any of us really expect Kevin Owens to main event WrestleMania, to be the face of the company, to be a 10-time world champion?
I expected him to be the top heel. Honestly, when he first started doing his stuff, I was like, he's currently a better heel than Wyatt Rollins.
And that's an okay spot for him. But there's a big difference between being the top heel and being the top babyface, which is the face of the company.
Oh no!
And a lot of people were expecting him to be this transcendent star, and they put way too much pressure on him. They overhyped him. You had Rolling Stone calling him the best wrestler of 2015.
Yeah.
Well, that's undue pressure on someone that couldn't live up to those things.
Well, to be fair, he still has. I mean, this is a guy who is still arguably the best bad guy in the company right now. He is still doing his job better than 90% of the guys on the roster. Except for The Miz, who is the only heel I actually see getting booed anymore. But when it comes down to things like I had this discussion earlier of what Kevin Owens needs to be. He needs to be CM Punk on promos and Brock Lesnar with the attitude.
Can't
He,
do it. That's impossible.
You can't compare it to Brock.
Yeah,
What-
he's not.
what I mean
not
by-
as,
what
him
I mean
high
by-
end is not as good as either one of those guys.
What I mean by that is the style that Punk's promos had was more of a shoot than a promo. A lot of his promos, when you look back, actually had quite a lot of reality in them. That's the sort of stuff you should be aiming for. With the attitude, I don't necessarily mean in-ring style. I don't necessarily mean with the I'm a big tough guy. I mean with the I'm here to dominate, I'm here to win, I'm here to do this, that, and the other.
But Brock gets away with that because he is legit tough. I mean, people look at Kevin Owens and they go, "Oh wow, this guy just got done with his beer league softball game." You know, that's from his look to his attire. His promo style is very stilted, and a lot of that has to do with his accent. He's a good heel. I'll give him that much. That guy lives the gimmick from in-ring to Twitter. That guy lives the gimmick, and he's very smart, and he knows the business very well. The best thing that he can do right now is to just shut his mouth and play ball.
Yep. Until Kevin Owens kind of establishes himself more as a main roster player, like he needs to have been there a good probably year and a half before he can even consider saying like maybe it's time for me to move up now.
Yeah, he hasn't done a goddamn thing in wrestling business to.
I'm guessing we just lost Paul.
Yep. Paul, you there?
There he is.
Paul?
He left.
Sorry, kick me out.
He left. I thought so.
Yeah, Vince.
Now he's muted.
You lagged out then for a moment.
Yeah. Now that all I'm saying was that he hasn't done enough in the business. He hasn't done anything in the business to warrant writing his own ticket. He's gonna be fine. He just has to wait it out, play ball, be cool, eat shit a little bit. I mean, he's been on the roster less than 5 months. He'll be fine.
It really has been less than 5 months.
He'll be fine.
I think he's going to be great. I mean, people are saying already he's buried. People are saying he's dead in the water. But, we're talking about Cena, and if Cena was to, I don't want to say disappear, if Cena was to kind of be injured, guys like Kevin Owens and guys like Cesaro probably would get a chance, but they're not going to be pushed as hard as people believe they are. I mean, people are saying, like, if John Cena wasn't there, these guys would be the top in the company. That's not how, WWE works. It's a cog. You have to be in the system.
It's a business, first and foremost. I mean, who's going to make them the most money? And fans nowadays, they have such ADD where, it's who's ever hot this week needs to be world champion. Not they should get a nice slow push. It's they need to be in the main event. They need to be world champion. Cesaro needs to be world champion.
I think
he needs to be main eventing SummerSlam with Kevin Owens because I like them.
I think the problem we get with that isn't so much the fact that everyone's got ADD. I think it's the fact that we've had the same stars for so long that people are getting tired and getting bored of seeing Cena for the 8,000th time, Randy Orton for the 8,000th time, Sheamus for Money in the Bank. He's probably not even going to win Money in the Bank, actually. We've got Brock.
I think he will.
He shouldn't. You get what I'm saying? We have a lot of the guys are the same guys.
Sheamus should be a good transitional. Sheamus should be a good transitional champion.
Right, but they aren't pulling. No one's pulling the trigger on launching the next phase, and that's I think where the fans are getting annoyed and aggravated. And I think that's
because we fantasy book so grand that we convince ourselves that this is what's going to happen, and when it doesn't, we get all butthurt because they can go with our plan. Cena still sells. Randy Orton still sell. They're still over. Guess what? Yeah. Kevin Owens. Yeah, okay, fine. He sold some shirts. Cool. He's been there 5 months. He's not there yet. Finn Balor. He's not there yet. Sami Zayn. He's not there yet. These guys are not going to be your WrestleMania main eventers.
Not right now, anyway. Because a lot of them are still. Sorry, Craig. A lot of them are there. A lot of them, if people know them from the indies, they're like, well, why aren't they in the main event? Why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they doing that? WWE does not write for the indies. They don't write for the indie darlings. They write for the casual viewers.
You
the
say
ones that put their butts in the seats and the ones in front of the TV at home.
you say
And that's
that
who they write for.
you say that, and this is kind of what pisses me off when everyone jumps straight to the so and so from the. I don't watch D&Ds, and I still want Kevin Owens to do this. I still want Dean Ambrose to be in a better position than he's in because the guys have paid their dues. The guys are good at what they do, and they're better at what they do than half the people on the roster.
Exactly, but Cena never really paid his dues, and look at where he is. So paying your dues doesn't really mean a whole lot in some cases.
When I said pay your dues, I mean like the fact that Ambrose has been there for a little while now. I mean, he was there back in FCW. He's been working with the company. Forget the indies. He's been working with that company for a while, and he's been making good progress. He has all the fans cheering him. He has the fan base behind him, and they still do fuck all with him.
Cena was there 2 years before they gave him the World Heavyweight title. That's okay. I think that's a good time. The guy worked his ass off. He used a shit gimmick. He got it over. He worked with some incredible guys. He worked with some bad guys. Look at Jesus, if you don't believe me. Yeah, that's right. We won't say Jesus, but it was Jesus because we can't call him Jesus. John Cena killed JC. Killed JC.
I remember that guy.
Yeah,
I remember that guy.
He was there for two matches. Two matches. It was one of the most brutal matches of that year. But John Cena did pay his dues, but he did it in the company. And that's what brings me to the point of guys like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn will never, ever, ever be the top guys, partially because they're not company characters. They're not company born and bred. Whereas someone like Wyatt and Roman Reigns, you know, those guys have been in WWE. We've even seen Husky Harris in WWE. You know, we've seen these guys come up from the ashes and then kind of rise again, if you want, again with the Phoenix shit. But
in Bray Wyatt's case, I mean, he's a second generation WWE wrestler.
Well, you look what it took for Bryan Danielson to get a push. I mean, you know, you look what they did with Danny Bryan. I mean, this guy was known as the best worker in the world. Without question, best worker in the world. And they did nothing with him for years. So, you know...
He was actually even fired at one point.
Yeah, so you know what, guys? Relax on Kevin Owens. He's only been there a few weeks, basically. You know, it took Bryan forever, so it'll be okay. Back away from the ledge.
You don't have to worry about Kevin Owens unless they stick him with Heath Slater.
Yeah, you know, unless he's going to be on Main Event or Superstars next week, or he has a dancing gimmick, he's going to be okay. Yeah. He still has a job. So what if he loses a couple matches? He's going to. Everybody loses except for Cena.
Yeah, right. Okay, that's actually one of the questions we got from a follower. Incarnate F5 wants to know, why does John Cena always win?
Because he's the face of the company. He's the face of the company, y'all. That's the end of story.
Guess what? Faces win.
Faces win. And he does. Underdogs. And he is the most recognized face of WWE. Even people who are non-wrestling fans know who John Cena is.
Let's face it. We live in an age where nowadays people are tired of always seeing the good guy win. Look at comic books, for example, where people want to see more stuff done with the Joker. People eventually want to see some people, like Wolverine. People kind of wanted to see Wolverine go in some ways. Then it would probably come back at some point, but I wanted to see him go. People are at a point now where everyone's tired of the good guy always wins attitude.
Right, no, because Seth Rollins isn't a good guy and he won.
It's the, you know, we're in the culture of, well, you know, what's cool. Cheered for the bad guy. Cheered for the bad guy is cool. We want to see the bad guy win. Why? Because you told me that cheered for the bad guy is what I'm supposed to do, and fuck you, Mom, I'm not doing what you tell me. That's what it is.
It's not
Superman always wins for a reason, because he's Superman. He stands for truth, justice, and the American way. John Cena is Superman. He's always going to win. Get over it.
Yeah, but look at Smallville. The best character in Smallville was Lex Luthor by far. The bad
guy.
We're
not comparing comics to wrestlers. We've done this. It doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
No, but what I'm saying is, in general, sometimes the good guy is better than the good guy. So the bad guy is better than the good guy. It just happens. You know, it's
right. But who always wins though?
Well, depending on the situation. I mean, you look at the movie The Devil's Rejects. for the first time in my life, I actually cheered for the bad guys because the
Who doesn't
good
love the
guy was
Firefly?
worst.
Everybody loves the Firefly family.
Yeah.
But,
Tutti
of
fucking
Fireflies.
Fruity.
Talking of Fireflies.
Tutti fucking Fruity.
What have I done?
Like talking about Fireflies, we're going to do a quick thank you to everyone who's had our t-shirts, and then we're going to discuss Bray Wyatt and his new followers. Guys, a big thank you to people like Mick Ryan, all the people from Just Saying, Mind of Carnage, Wrestle Addicts, everyone who's purchased a t-shirt, any one of our listeners, please send us in a photo with you wearing it when you get them. I know some of our UK listeners are still waiting on their t-shirts. They will get to you. They have been dispatched, and I'm sure you've had an email about that. Shipping just takes a long time. I know people in Canada are still waiting as well. Again, guys, you'll get them soon. Send us in a photo though when you get them, and we want to make like a big low family kind of montage for you guys. We'll put it all together. We'll take the photo. We'll probably put it on YouTube somehow. Make a video. Might even just be a small music video. Who knows? But we want to
I
give
still
back to you
have to
guys
buy
for giving
one.
back to us.
I
God
still
damn
have to
it,
buy
Krista.
one. I know, that's next payday.
Speaking of, I'll tell you what, Krista, if you want to buy one, you go to tpublic.com/users/levels of wrestling. And when you're done with that, you can go to the Google Play Store. You can download our app by searching Levels of Wrestling. And if you're not there and you're an Apple idiot, because we know some of you are, you go over to podbean.com, you search Levels of Wrestling, and you search for us here. All of our podcasts, including Mind of Carnage, Ringside Ramblers, Just Saying, and Wrestle Addicts, including ourselves as well. Don't forget, guys, if you're liking the video, please like, share, and subscribe. Now, as I was saying, Fireflies. Bray Wyatt is one of those guys that is kind of picking up steam again. You know, we've all said that that was our favorite match at Battlegrounds. But there's talk of adding another member to the Wyatt family. And there's a lot of dispute because obviously Rowan is injured. And Mick Ryan, or Heel Mick Ryan, or Superhero Mick, or Scottish Mick, Drunk Mick, however you want to call him, has tweeted us in, and he wants to know, who would we put as the third Wyatt member? And I don't want who it's going to be, because Chris, I know we spoke about it, we'll talk about that at the end, but I want to know who you would like to see as the third Wyatt member.
Ambrose. Makes the most sense. Yeah, Ambrose is a guy who's desperately in need of having something to do at the moment, and I feel like him constantly being buddies with Roman Reigns is good, but not fantastic. I also feel like Ambrose is at a point where he's... I don't know why, because this tends to be a habit of things that happen in this company, where when you outsell John Cena in merch, you generally get turned heel. Generally speaking. So I want it to happen. I also see it happening.
Okay. Krista, who would you like to see as the third member of the Wyatts?
Kevin Owen.
Okay. Why? Why?
I think it'd just be an interesting twist. You know, he's tapped out to Cena. Not very happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, instead of being the lone gun, he can hook up with Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper,
My only
or at least Wyatt, who have you know had a feud with Cena, and for the most part successfully got into his head.
well,
Kayfabe, anyways.
my only issue with that would be you're wasting Kevin Owens' promo. His promos have been good. I feel like if he joins the Wyatt family, Wyatt has to do the promos.
Guy, Luke Harper still talks.
Yeah.
Barely.
He
Yeah,
got a
he's a
good
good
promo
promo.
this week on Raw.
Now then, for the real answer, I will speak on behalf of us, Craig.
Thank you.
Bo Dallas.
Right. We can now speak about this because I said we'd make Chris wait. Chris, please tell everyone what you've been hearing as our rumor mill.
Well, our rumour merely comes from Dave Meltzer and somebody else. I'm not entirely sure who the hell that guy was. But apparently we will all be... there will be a third member added to the Wyatts. We're all going to regret who it is. And the current rumour mill is that it is going to be Bo Dallas.
Wow, we were right. They do listen to us, man.
They do, every single week.
However, I should go out and say that these quote-unquote rumours are backstage whispers and are subject to possible change.
We booked this like how many months ago?
You know,
Completely unreliable.
you know
I love
they're then gonna go, hey, shit, they knew we listened, we're gonna have to change this to screw
Oh,
with
they
them.
got us. Yeah, you have Bo be the real face of fear. He's the one pulling the strings behind
The-
Bray. He's the
the-
one telling Bray what to do. It's
the only-
Oh,
brilliant.
he is
The only
freaking
issue I've
creepy.
The only issue I've got with that is he needs to have the beard, and he doesn't right now.
It doesn't
Ew.
matter, it'll grow back in. And that's what makes it good, because you'll have the whole thing growing slowly in.
No, you have him be the clean cut one. He's the leader of this cult.
No,
But you
no,
want to
he has.
put him out there in a white vest.
I feel like
I would put him out in white vest, white trousers, personally.
Yep.
He's got to look squeaky clean. He's got to be that face. And when you say about the face of fear, he's got to be unstoppable. Because they're going to do it. If they're going out with a whole hog, they're going to add Bo to everything.
unstoppable.
Unstoppable, yeah.
Well, it
How
would
you
make
can-
sense with this whole believe BS.
Oh, you got to believe in the buzzards.
No, they cut out the whole Bo stuff when he goes. So-
Could you imagine how creepy that would be to hear White go at the end of a match, follow the buzzards? But instead of saying that, he just says, "Just believe," and everything just cuts to black.
Oh, yeah.
It'd just be like, "Oh God, this is so."
Creepy, creepy,
Yeah.
creepy.
Speaking of creepy, there's something I want to discuss, which is cringe-worthy Rusev.
Cringeworthy Rusev is great. I think we spoke about this the other night, didn't we?
Yes, we did. I actually cringed watching the stuff backstage with Summer Rae and Lana. I was actually cringing. I can't watch this.
I can't
Like,
watch them at the best of times.
I like the cringeworthy glares, like while he's getting off with Summer Rae, and all of a sudden he just stares blankly at Lana.
The
That
thing
to me
is-
is one of the creepiest things he could do. It's so good.
I'm going to be honest with you. Watching Rusev get it on with anyone is kind of.
The thing is, it's cringeworthy because of how good of a heel it is. You just sit there like,
Yeah.
it's so good at being creepy that it's cringeworthy.
Like, for me, Rusev is one of these guys, he's playing his character the way he's been told to, and then by the looks of it, he's adding a little bit in each time. Like, obviously they've had this idea that he's going to make Lana jealous, but the way he's doing it is, like, so in your face. Like, hey, look, I'm kissing her, and I'm looking at you. I'm staring into your soul. I know what you look like naked. What gets me is how awkward that must be for him, because that's actually his real-life girlfriend.
Oh
You
yeah,
know
I'm sure
who-
that's super awkward for him.
Who,
I
Summer
imagine
Rae
it's super
or
awkward,
Lana?
especially Lana. Lana and Rusev are actually a real life couple.
I believe it.
Yeah. See, what gets me though is he's had to sit through weeks of her kissing Dolph, and then he's got this opportunity to kiss Summer Rae and be like, look at what I'm doing now. This is revenge.
And this is work. I'm getting paid for this.
Yeah, I think it's working very well for them as well.
The whole kiss and Rusev thing just grosses me right out.
There's nothing wrong with a European man with a mustache.
It's the European ladies with the mustaches you got to worry about.
I don't know. We kind of get used to it.
No.
I'm kidding.
Chris
you
in the
don't get used to it
background,
at all.
you know.
Chris, that was a man, by the way. You should have been warned. No, I don't know. I kind of like Russo's character at the minute. I think it's creepy. It's good. I just question where they're going to go with him after this. I feel kind of bad for him because he's that guy in the middle of two. What's the word? Valets. He's in the word of two valets, kind of just waiting for things to happen.
Summer Rae's orange.
Yeah. Okay. Well, one valet and an orange.
She is. She's orange. It's disturbing.
I wouldn't say disturbing. Some people have a glow. It's no worse than Orton's is sometimes.
There's
Ryder's.
glow. There's glow, and then there's orange.
Who has the worst tan in wrestling currently?
I would say Zack Ryder, but we haven't seen him on TV, and God knows how
Zack
long.
Ryder. Is Zack Ryder even with the company anymore?
Yeah. He was in the promos. He was there this week when they had the brawl on Raw.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Here you go, Zach.
That was Brad
TV time.
Maddox. Brad Maddox was in the brawl.
So was the
I
Ascension.
thought he was gone.
Yeah, the Ascension are there too. I think a lot of these guys that we think are gone are actually doing a lot of the network stuff, like Swerved and things like that.
And main event, a lot of them are on as well. So
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, the main event thing really bugs me that they're not using that as a real show anymore, considering it used to be quite good.
It did used to
Yeah,
be quite good.
I remember when they were pushing that for Barrett having the Intercontinental Championship match on there.
Yes,
They had the Battle Royal, didn't they, to determine the number one contender for the IC
they
title.
did.
They did have that on. They had some actually really good matches on there.
And then they decided, nope, screw this, we're going back to Jobbers only.
See, I like it, and you say jobbers only, but this week it was Neville on there as well.
Like I said, Jobbers only.
Hey, you were sucking his dick 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, hold on.
I think Neville's great, but his position in the company isn't where it should be.
Yeah, so, the precedent has already been set for NXT guys.
Yeah.
Which
It's not a coincidence of
which
what's
I
happening
kind of feel
nowadays.
is, I kind of feel that's part of when Triple H
It could be
takes
that they
over.
give them to, they send them to main event to season them.
I
Because
think
let's face it, it's taped before a Raw crowd.
no, I feel like it's simply a matter of, well, if that's the case, what was the point in having them work dark matches at Raws? I feel like the whole point here is that they're being called up and someone backstage clearly has it out for NXT or NXT guys. Hint, hint, wink, wink, Kevin Dunn, nudge, nudge, like everyone seems to be suggesting, because apparently, here's the interesting part, apparently Kevin, everyone should take this with a pinch of salt because it's IWC rumours. The rumours are that Kevin Dunn worries that when Triple H gets placed in charge, Kevin Dunn will lose his job.
Yeah, and he probably will.
Yeah, and the general consensus is that Kevin Dunn, who has, he has a voice in Vince's ear, is saying, don't put these guys up, because he thinks it will delay Triple H getting in if Triple H's guys aren't getting over.
Can I just ask, who's telling us this?
This is coming from a mixture of sources. I can't actually...
Until I hear it direct from Kevin Dunn, I'm not believing it.
Yeah, this is the thing. I did say everyone should take it with a pinch of salt.
I'll take that with a fistful and a bag of salt.
But what I was going to say is, if that is true, it wouldn't surprise me because, I don't think it's a coincidence that almost everyone that's come up from NXT, bar the Shield, has pretty much, and the Wyatts, when they're together, pretty much bombed.
No, I don't know. I mean, they're doing okay. I mean, you can't expect every guy to go straight into the main event. We knew guys when they came up from NXTs, some of them have to stay in the mid card. Some of them are going to be lower card. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, is that you have, say, the Ascension, who are low card guys. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no tag team, lower card tag team besides the Ascension.
I'd put Lucha Dragons down there at the moment, if I'm honest.
Lucha Dragons and the Los Matadoras.
Lucha Dragons are scraping TV time, if I'm completely honest. They're there when someone needs to win a match, or when something needs to happen, basically. That's when they're called up.
See, and that's a shame, too.
I can't remember what I read it recently. It was actually a former star that says that he wants to see Hispanic champions in WWE again.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool to see Kalisto get a good singles run, because we've never actually seen Kalisto have a proper singles run, even in NXT.
But remember, they were going to make him a barber.
That guy is money. He's going to sell a ton of money in merchandise. Or at least he should. He should be like the next Rey Mysterio. But if they're going to let their stupid, shitty egos get in the way of, well, I didn't write it, I didn't create it, so fuck it. That's the wrestling business. That's the WWE. That's the WWF. They have taken so many characters that they didn't create and ruined them just out of spite. They've created characters out of spite. Look at Triple H, look at Dusty Rhodes, look at Virgil. All three of those characters were created by Vince McMahon out of spite. That place is worse than high school. It is ridiculous how they treat characters, how they treat careers. Like they're only characters and not people behind them.
Hell, look at Gilbert and then how they treated Goldberg when they actually got him.
Goldberg.
They ruined Goldberg his second week there because
They ruined Booker T on his debut.
they did this because they didn't create them. And it's Vince McMahon. Oh, I'm gonna crush it. I didn't make it.
I'm not sure.
That's just the way he is. Look at DDP. He was one of the biggest stars that they had. I mean, Goldberg. He was one of the biggest stars of the past 15 years, 20 years. He was a household name.
Well, I know, Paul, that you saw the video that I put in our thing.
Oh yeah, yes, with James
Cornette. Jim Cornette was talking about Kevin Dunn again. Funny enough, Kevin Dunn. Probably where half these rumors have started to go. It was something that was done where it was bad. Was it Bad Blood that it was?
Yeah. It was a pay-per-view in St. Louis, and they wanted to do a tribute to NWA legends that ran the St. Louis area. So they had a nice video package. They had all those guys there live, and Kevin Dunn was basically like, "Well, people don't know who these guys are, so who gives a shit?" That was basically his attitude.
And they all got massive pops. They all got it was a nice 10-minute feel-good spot. And the general consensus was Jim Cornette. Most of this video was Jim Cornette saying, "Fuck you, Kevin Dunn, you fucking useless fucking cunt, fucking twat."
But that sounds like Jim Cornette all over it anyway. Like,
yeah.
Jim Cornette is one of the most outspoken guys in wrestling. And I kind of respect him sometimes, and then there's other times I'm like, you're an idiot.
Yeah, he's, you got to be 50-50 with Cornette. But you can never question the man's love for pro wrestling. I mean, he respects history. He respects the business, where Kevin Dunn, he doesn't care about history. He doesn't care about the business. He cares about the TV product and how it looks. And
his position in the company.
Right, and just being a Vince McMahon yes man, which is not what the company needs. I mean... And it's so weird that the pro wrestling landscape is changing. We're seeing that Independence, that Ring of Honor, Lucha, New Japan. People want to watch these things. They want to see this solid in-ring action. They don't. That looks different. It looks aesthetically different in production and in ring. And how these stars look, but yet they are still so stuck to what they think pro wrestling should look like that it's a detriment to the company.
What you just said about Kevin Dunn being a yes man, it comes back to what Punk said in the Pipe Bomb years ago when he said Vince McMahon is a millionaire who should be a billionaire.
Yep.
But he surrounds himself.
I tweet that once a month.
You did, and I saw that today actually. Well done. Yeah. Guys, we promised we'd do the segment. We do it every week. Let's hear your pop and heat for this week. Let's start with Paul, because he sat quietly.
Pop of the week goes to R-Truth for trying to talk down Brock Lesnar. He was talking his man down. He was
looked
right
like
there.
Chris Pratt in Jurassic World.
He was the only man brave enough to try and talk down the beast, and he managed to do so. Love some R-Truth.
Slight tangent here. Could you imagine how awesome it would be if kayfabe, Brock Lesnar, the only people in the company he likes are Paul Heyman and R-Truth, so one day R-Truth's losing to Barrett, Lesnar comes out and destroys Barrett for him?
I don't want Brock Lesnar liking anybody. I don't even want him liking Paul Heyman.
He doesn't like Paul Heyman on screen. That's what makes it great.
Yeah, that's what makes it great. My heat of the week it goes to how they're booking Seth Rollins. His title reign is one of the worst title reigns I can ever remember. The Miz looks stronger as world champion, and it sucks to say that this man cannot win a match on his own. They can't seem to figure out what his character is. It's terrible that this great talent, I'm almost speechless by how terrible he's been booked. This is awful.
Did you guys see there was a picture going around of a missing, when someone's gone missing and they put out the posters? Someone was putting posters out around St. Louis for Seth Rollins because everyone was like, where did he go after the end of the match?
Wow. Just get famous dead.
apparently got in a little bit of trouble with the police, but went around putting up missing posters for Seth Rollins.
That's good. Good on those fans.
Krista, what's your poppin' heat?
Well, I have to agree with Paul about the pop about R-Truth. I mean, that's
Yeah.
awesome. That was just awesome watching him.
I need to watch
I like
that again.
R-Truth. I like R-Truth. He's a solid worker, and he is the workhorse. One of the workhorses. He's there to get the young guys over. He's there to be comic relief. He seems to be a jack of all trades. So my huge pop goes to R-Truth for that spot with Brock Lesnar and just in general. And my heat of the week goes to Battleground because it was absolutely crap.
Chris?
It was a waste of a pay-per-view and 3 hours of my life.
I feel so bad that I like this show.
My pop of the week is going to go to the overall Taker Lesnar segment on Monday Night Raw. I feel like, the brawl with having security go out, security is not enough. They have to bring that entire roster. The roster's not enough. They're still fighting over it. I felt like it was really well done. I felt like it was excellent on both parts and with everybody involved. Like you guys already mentioned, R-Truth was given about a minute of camera time and made the most of it. He wasn't even on camera and he made the most of it. I think that was fantastic. I think the overall angle was brilliant. My heat of the week goes to the way that they're booking in the future of the company. Like I said, guys like you have Owens who could be a popular. You got guys like Neville, Stardust who haven't even been seen for some reason. I don't know what the hell they're playing at with that. I don't know what they're intending to do with Cesaro at the moment. He seems to be borderlining main event. Honestly, I feel like the company, they've given Cena the US title just so they can say, oh, well, the company doesn't revolve around Cena anymore, but it still kind of does. Like, what was the point in any of this? I feel like...
You know what? I'm gonna add on to that a little bit. They are being way too short-sighted with their booking. I mean, you look at what they've done with NXT. You look at all the call-ups they've done this year. The cupboard is bare down there. I mean, they've called up Owens and Neville, and now three of the women from down there, and they're not being replaced.
They are.
Yeah,
by who? Not by the level of talent that's leaving, though.
No, but
those are a ton of talent that are leaving now. And who's left down there?
Tyler Breeze. Awful.
You have Tyler Breeze, you have Finn Balor, and you have Samoa Joe.
And Enzo and Cass. Who can forget Enzo and Cass?
They're a gimmick team that's going to be wasted, and they're going to be nothing within a few months.
They'll be like the Ascension.
No, they're going to end up like the New Age Outsiders. Sorry, the New Age Outlaws, Jesus.
They're not going to be 7-time tag team champions.
No. They're going to end up like that kind of gimmick, though. It's just to get the crowd going, and they'll have a shitty match, and they'll have good competition, but that'll be it.
Things.
I'm going to put money on it. NXT Brooklyn, you're going to see a championship match, and they're going to put the belts on Enzo and Cass.
And they absolutely should. That's a perfect place to be.
And I'm going to be the loudest guy on TV. I'll be in the nosebleeds, and I'll be the loudest guy on TV.
I hope you are.
How you doing? My pop of the week goes to the interaction between Brock and Taker with, "I'm gonna kill you. You're gonna have to." That was possibly one of the best unscripted lines they've done this year. Although Undertaker looked legit pissed. Like, he looked like maybe Brock had hit him and he just snapped.
Have you guys seen the gif of like his eyes bulging out of his head at ringside?
Yeah, he's getting old and his eyes are too big for his like wrinkly face. Sorry, it's inevitable. My heat of the week. I'm gonna be honest. My heat of the week is kind of tough because there's a lot I dislike this week. But I've got to say it's definitely Kevin Owens tapping out to a shitty looking STF. I'm good with the fact he lost. I'm completely fine with that. However, I'm not fine with the fact that he lost to the worst looking finisher I've seen this year. And, I'd have been happy if he lost with the Super Avalanche, AAA, top rope, whatever you want to call it. That would have been fine with me. You know, big move, really big move. No one taps out of an AA as it is, unless it's the first 4 minutes of a match. After that, they could have done anything they wanted, but okay. It's my pop of the week with my heat of the week.
I'm with you. Now that I just want to add something else before we get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Speaking of NXT, they're the show that you're going to be going to there in Brooklyn. Now that they have added Justin Liger to the show.
Justin
Can't say with a
Liger.
straight face.
Yeah.
Who
They've added Justin Liger, and but this whole thing, it reeks of Vince in the Territory.
Desperation?
No, this is Vince in the Territory days. This is him going, okay, Ring of Honor, they have a show in the same city. We're going to book a show, same city, same time, and yet we're going to take one of the talents that you guys kind of work with and put it on our show. This, to me, this is what Vince used to do to his competition. Now then, does he see Ring of Honor as competition at this point?
No.
Are we talking Vinny K. Sr. or Vinny K. Jr.?
Both did it.
I don't think he sees him as competition. I think he sees it as, I don't want this talent working for them just now. Come work for us. And it's not that it's competition. I think it's just drawing numbers because they realistically had no huge names on that show until probably last week.
Right, but to do that show, though, Ring of Honor already had a book first. And then to do it, same area, same night, pretty much same time. I mean, it's just the coincidence. I'm not saying that they think Ring of Honor is any kind of threat. They want their talent, but probably more importantly, they want that working arrangement with New Japan. Now, because the way it sounds is that Liger is just working that show as a personal favor to Regal.
Yeah. Do you know what? I had this conversation with someone this week, actually, and they were pretty adamant it wasn't the case. New Japan have a working relationship with Ring of Honor, yes?
Yes.
Yep.
New Japan also have a working relationship with GFW.
Yes, they do.
And GFW has a working relationship with Ring of Honor.
Right. Yeah, they have. I mean, they just had a press release the other day where they announced, all the companies that they're partnered up with. WWE was not on that list. So, it's not like, because I saw the dirt sheets were going, oh yeah, they're working together. They're not working together. If they were, trust me, this would be all over the place.
WWE doesn't partner with anyone.
See, no, what I was thinking
But if
was
they're
more that
smart, they do.
GFW
Well, if they were
has
smart,
just recreated the territories without thinking
Yes.
about it.
Yeah, they have.
To me, Ring of Honor is the top of the heap in that because they're really doing it that way. They're catering to that live audience. They're the true alternative. And if the end game here is to put them out of business, we've already seen what the pro wrestling landscape looks like when there's no competition. And if eventually WWE does come into working relationships with all companies, whatever, it's gonna be to the detriment of the pro wrestling world. Essentially, I mean, if they worked with New Japan, you might as well just kiss pro wrestling goodbye. Because Ring of Honor might as well just fold up shop. TNA might as well just fold up shop. Because you're going to be seeing...
TNA are gone by next year.
Well, we've been saying that for 8 years now, and they're still kicking. So good for them. They're still ruining talent by the week. So good for them. and yes, as part of our segment, no, Paul isn't watching TNA. But, they want... But, is it, for them, though, would it be more important to just have the name of New Japan, to have the talent like AJ Styles and Okada and Nakamura working in NXT and things like that? Is it more important to have those guys there and being attached with the WWE and NXT name, or is it more important to keep them away from Ring of Honor?
See, to me, I think their main aim is to make NXT a bigger name. However, in order to do that, they need to take bigger stars, and more recognizable stars on a larger level, probably that have more recognition in other countries as well. Because, I mean, The network is now available in most countries.
Mm-hmm.
So they need to get these talents out there to let people see, hey, look what we're bringing to the table now.
Well, they have their deal with Evolve, so you're going to be seeing a lot of that's going to be kind of their pipeline. That's going to be the real developmental, not NXT. The real developmental is going to be Evolve. We're going to be seeing guys.
Oh,
come
did they sign a deal with Evolve?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I wonder if Chris Hero's going to pop up again.
No.
That's funny because I think Drew Galloway was Evolve champion, was he not?
Drew Galloway was indeed Evolve champion. Drew Galloway is also currently working TNA, which makes things very interesting.
Mm-hmm. I want to say Tim Thatcher is Evolve champion right now.
Yeah, but I mean things like that. Anytime they bring in guys,
and I really hope to God I never see that guy in a WWE ring because he's one of my favorite wrestlers in the world, one of my two favorites, and he just wouldn't work there.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those guys that wants to see every talent go to WWE. In fact, I want to see most guys never go there because I love the idea of fantasy booking that dream match that you'll never see. That's why I never wanted Sting there. I don't want to see everybody come work for Vince. I always like to work for the little guy.
You're getting fucked royal in the ass.
Yeah, and you know that if they had any kind of deal with Japan, that none of those guys are going to be booked to look great. We already know what he thinks of. Vince books by look and color and stereotype and whatever you are.
However, I do want to send Big Show to Japan and watch him wrestle tiny men.
I want to send him to Mexico to do that. I think that'd be great.
I want to send him to Japan. I want to see him do a sumo wrestle. So I don't know if I want to see Big Show in a diaper, but
he's already done. We've already seen that. He had Akibono at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
but we know that.
Give me an Akiboner.
And I had an Akiboner afterwards. Yeah. But
yeah, we tried wearing one of those diapers. It ain't comfy.
There's a vision. There's a vision.
I'll Snapchat you later, Krista.
We know how Vince books. I mean, even look at it now. Look at Sasha Banks being brought up to the roster now. Who is she associated with? It's Vince doing classic Vince booking, where there's no thought involved. It's, oh, well, you guys look alike. You're together.
Work well for New Day.
Yeah, but,
But that only goes so far as, but that falls short with Alicia Fox because she's with the Bellas.
I can't wait till we see Jason Statham and Cesaro together.
The world will blow up.
He does look like Jason Statham, doesn't he?
He does. Facially, he's a little bit different, but the rest of him, it's all the same.
It's like I want to see Luke. I want to see Luke Harper next to Jason Lee, and watch the fans' minds blow up.
That would also be like probably one of the greatest WrestleMania moments. Have Luke Harper roll under the ring and Jason Lee come out the other side.
Well, you look at him when he was like in Chikara, when he was Brody Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Which, there's no coincidence there, because what was it? His character in Mallrats Brody, right?
Something like that.
Was it his name in Mallrats
Jason
Brody?
Lee. Jason Lee. Brody Lee.
Yeah, his name was
Brody.
Brody.
It was in Brody.
See?
Brody.
Wow, look at that. Whoa, I think we figured it out, where his name came from, at least. But, I just don't want this to happen. I don't want the wrestling world to coexist and hug each other and everybody work together. I don't want that to happen. It's like Hollywood only has one director.
It's all Michael Bay.
It's all Michael Bay. The cast may change, but it's still the same director.
Yeah, the cast won't change all that much, though, because Shia LaBeouf's at the top of the list.
Do it!
Terrible.
Do it!
I hope can you get an audio clip of that for when you put this up on Podbean?
Order the shirt! Just do it!
No, don't order the Just Do It shirt. We're not getting sued.
Do it!
Guys, before Paul flips a lid, we're going to say goodnight, because I think he's going red in the face.
Do it!
I'm sure Chris says goodbye. He was here, but unfortunately looks like he's been kicked out. Wow, I'm struggling to say this now. Thanks, Paul. Guys, if you like the show tonight, please head over to levelsofwrestling.podbean.com. You can also give this video a like, share, and subscribe to our channel. That would be fantastic. And if you're feeling really generous, like we said, look in the description of the video. You'll find a link that will take you to tpublic.com/user/levels of wrestling, where you can buy our t-shirt for just $20 at the moment. Alternatively, you can have a hoodie or a tank top, a woman's tee, or a child's tee. Paul will tell you because he just kitted out his whole family.
Yeah, we all got shirts. We did it!
I think Paul's going to have a meltdown here pretty quick.
Guys, please head to the Levels Google Store and download the Levels of Wrestling app as well. You can hear ourselves, Ringside Ramblers, Mind of Carnage, Just Sing, and the Wrestle Addicts as well. Don't forget tomorrow night, unfortunately, we won't have Lowdown, but there will be the Ringside Ramblers and there will be Wrestle Addicts as well. So, guys, thank you, and good night. Stay on the line.
Do it!